Hi everyone, just a little impromptu interview with Ida and I. Thank you for being here tonight, Ida.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We are representing the South Australian Hair and Beauty Association. We'd like to do this kind of informal chit chat with you guys just to go through what life has been like for us as salon owners during COVID. Some of you may have been open or may have been closed. Ida and I have both remained open during COVID. We've got some tips and tricks to share with you on behalf of the association. Ida, tell us a little bit about your involvement with SAHBA.
Okay, I've been involved with SAHBA for many years. I actually don't know how many years. And I guess one of the reasons why I've chosen to be part of the association is because I genuinely believe in our industry and like support our industry. I think it's important to support local, and I think more importantly it's really fabulous that we have somebody here that we can actually go to.
Yes.
Our state has been very diligent, especially throughout the whole COVID-19 pandemic. It's actually been, a shining light for the rest of the country. So I think why not? You need to be supporting local. Yes. And I think it's we're constantly employing apprentices. Yes. So for me, I genuinely believe it's highly important to be a member of the association. Yes. And not for anything, but just purely because why wouldn't you be? Yes. We're very different from everywhere else in the country, and it's if you are employing apprentices and you are employing staff, it's highly important that you make sure you know all your facts and figures and everything on the do's and don'ts. Yes. And more importantly, especially through the whole COVID-19 pandemic, it's actually definitely made people stand aside, people step up. It's affected businesses in many very different ways.
Yeah. I myself am a newbie to the association. I have a real passion for the industry, and as you know, we've been in the industry for a lot longer than some people. It's really important for me to see the next generation of hairdressers understand how amazing it is to be a hairdresser. You're around people that have got years and years and years of experience. I've got a relationship, with Ida through the association. She has become quite a mentor for me, someone that I can call upon and learn and get assistance. So for me, being part of the association is it's a wealth of knowledge. It's so much information. We're hairdressers, we're not executives with business degrees. We're hairdressers learning to be business owners. So for me, being a part of SAHBA is just that. It's a huge amount of information.
Yeah, I think it's a huge amount of information at any time. Yes. But I think at this point of time, it's helped definitely give you the encouragement to step up and take a little bit more ownership and think, okay, how do we get through such a unprecedented time where, and I don't really love that word, we've heard it to bits, but it kind of really is that time, because I've been in business for 25 years and I've been a stylist for 35 years, and we've never been affected by anything like this, ever. So there's no tools, no one teaches you how to do things like that. No. It's a matter of, okay, putting your big boots on and working out what's right.
But don't you think being part of a community like this has helped? I mean, there's some of you that might not even know or have heard of SAHBA or know that it's available to you. It definitely is available in the state, and I feel it's very, very easy to get caught up in listening to, especially during COVID, what the eastern states are doing, but it's irrelevant to us because the way that South Australia has handled this is completely different.
Exactly. I think we just need to remember, support your local, and supporting local is in every means. It's not just supporting the local deli or the local supermarket or whatever it is. It's supporting local industry, and our association has been doing amazing things for that specifically.
Unfortunately, I think the association goes a little bit unnoticed sometimes. Like, people aren't really aware of, you know, it's a strictly not-for-profit organisation. We all give our own time to be part of all the events, the hair competitions that happen at Convention Centre every year. You know, you guys all want those things to keep going, and the new generation of hairdressers are all about being on comps and photo comps, and you know, so I do think it's important for people to understand that without the association, those things aren't available to us in the state. I'm privy to, I participate and I MC a lot of comps and shows all around Australia for other, you know, non-for-profit hair associations, and I really do think that South Australian competitions, they are a cut above. I think we just all need to get behind, you know, the association, and part of the reason that we're doing this video, and it's a different format for the association as well, is for you guys to get to know what the association is about, why we're part of it, and what are the benefits of you guys being a part of it. So that being said, we should get into it.
Yeah, and I think one thing importantly is, as I said before, it's very community. Yeah. So you can
bring someone up,
because you can chat and you can have a discussion about
you can email, find out, you know, pay rates. If your staff are leaving, you can find out, you know, what are your payout figures like. You know, you get the awards sent to you via email. It's none of this sitting around and, you know, researching it all yourself. It's available on the website. So heaps of stuff to talk about SAHBA. But the main reason we're here tonight is to discuss, again, what has it been like for salons who have stayed open. One of the reasons behind this little segment is for those salon owners that are feeling a little bit concerned about what it's going to be like for them to re-enter the salon, to reopen the salon. So Ida and I both have salons that have remained open during this time. We're going to share with you a little bit of an insight into what it's been like for us. We both have very different businesses. Ida has a lot more staff than I do. So we're coming from two different perspectives in that way, but we're both going to share some of the things that we've done to make our salon stay successfully open during this time. All right, Ida, so I've got a few questions. I'm going to ask Ida a question and she's going to ask me the questions back. Again, we've got two very different types of salons, so it'll give salons with a lot of staff an idea of how many staff did you say you had?
We have 18 on the hairdressing side. 18
on the hairdressing side. We're also going to touch a little bit on the beauty side of that, even though that's just coming up to be opened on the 8th of June. We will discuss a little bit about the conversations. I've got a sub lease tenant. Ida also has a completely separate side in her salon that does beauty, so we'll touch briefly on that. But mostly just to start with, we're going to discuss the hair side. All right, Ida.
And I guess really because beauty hasn't opened yet, and there's still 4 or 5 weeks away, and things could change
in between.
So we can't really, we can only give.
So all of the information that we're giving you as well are guidelines that we have followed from like government advice. Some of it is from the safe work practices. None of what we're saying is actually legal and gospel. The exercise that we're trying to do is just have a conversation with you guys. Any legal information as well, please refer back to the SAHBA website for any of the complete, accurate information. SAHBA is working towards developing an app which will give you updates on Safe Work SA practices. So please don't take what we're saying as gospel. This is just to explain to you guys what we're doing within the guidelines that the government has set out that we're practicing to follow COVID-19.
And I guess also things are changing. You have to be fluid.
Yes.
We've had to be fluid throughout this whole pandemic. So things are changing in government. You know, I know right from the very beginning, we were looking at, everyone was tuned in every day because every day there's something else, something new.
Our 30-minute rule.
Our 30-minute rules in one day, out the next day. So I think for now, it's like what we're saying is this is what we're doing right now. And moving ahead, hopefully we will be able to open on the 8th of June, which is
a long far away.
But we will be able to, if everyone sticks to the the rules and everyone sticks to the social distancing rules. And I think SA has done an amazing job for that.
Yes.
So I think if we just stick to what we're doing,
Yes.
it will become fruition for everyone.
100%.
And everyone can do this.
100%. So that being said, Ida, one of the topics that we've got a few questions. We're going to try and keep it very conversational piece. Again, this is just what we're doing in our salons. It's not gospel, but we wanted to share with you what has made our business stay open during this time. So Ida, tell me how you're feeling about the salon and its changes during COVID.
I think, in the beginning it was a bit like, do we close? In the beginning it was a bit like we were planning to close. So it's like, okay, let's do all this before this particular date because we don't know what's going to happen, so we might very well close.
Yes.
Then there was a mind shift. It's like, okay, you know what? We're not closing. Let's stay. We're going to be open. So let's change our practices to this is what we're doing moving forward. So let's start implementing the things that we have to do moving forward.
Yes.
Because I genuinely believe that those things that we have implemented will be with us for a long time.
Yes, yes.
It's not going to be, 30th of July, everything goes back to normal.
Yes.
That's just not going to happen.
Okay.
And we're very realist about that. So I think, I guess for us, it's about thinking, okay, you need to, as I said, being fluid is the most important thing. And I know, most of us in business, we like to have a plan.
Yes, yes.
But if you stick to a plan and then there's the angst of, oh my God, we're not doing the same thing, you can't be like that.
Correct.
You've just got to be a little bit more fluid. Okay, this is what we're doing this week. And, a month ago we were planning day to day.
Yes.
Then we went from week to week.
Yes.
Now we're able to plan month to month.
Yes, yes.
So we've sort of implemented a lot of things. But some of the things that we've implemented that, simple things like when a client walks in,
Yes.
they don't only sanitize with a sanitizer.
Yes.
They need to wash their hands.
Yes.
They need to fill out a health declaration, which we've put on it ourselves.
Yes.
And disinfecting the station, which, we all like to think that we've done along the way, but we've got to be diligent about those things.
Yes.
And, I guess they're the things moving forward that some of those practices will remain with us for months to
So
come.
in the general feeling of like you feel positive about this, like these changes haven't been a negative for you in your workspace.
Oh, do you know what? At the end of the day, no one likes to think it being positive, but you've got to try and look at the positive in everything.
Yes.
And I think it is what it is.
Yes.
So you need to either adapt, step up and adapt, or you just get left behind.
Look, I think at the start for us there was that very overwhelming sensation of, is my business going to survive COVID-19? Like at the beginning, saying when we were talking about the 30-minute rule.
Yeah.
We got together with the staff and had an emergency meeting the night before. We had to implement the 30 minutes, and it was that do or die. Same thing. I was thinking I was going to have to shut my salon. I'm very blessed with the staff that I have, and we got together, and it was an automatic reaction of, okay, so how are we going to make the best of this?
Yeah.
And through great advice from my accountant, he said to me, Marcella, just treat it like it's another bad week.
Yeah.
Okay, don't. I had one great staff member say to me, Marcella, we just have to treat this in a day-to-day scenario. Don't get ahead of yourself. Let's just treat it in a day-to-day scenario. I mean, I think for businesses like yours and mine, we have a very good community ambassadorship. So you've been open for a very long time, a generational business. Where you've taken over this business and you've got really good support in your community. I could say the same thing about my business. By no means are we saying that you should have stayed open if you couldn't stay open. However, I think it's important to point out that we're not judging, like whether you stayed open or whether you stayed closed. However, everyone has, taken it differently. It has been very difficult to stay open. Some people were under the impression that staying open has been very easy for us because we have known salons that people do come to on a regular basis, but it hasn't been that simple. We've had to go over things with a fine-tooth comb to be able to stay open. So lots of emotion behind the whole process. Lots.
Yes, and also trying to stay positive for your team, your staff. I think, and clients that are coming through the door.
Yes.
And we've been very blessed in the fact that we've had clients that have been elated or really glad that we've been able to stay open.
Yes.
And they've been, my weekly clients have still been coming as weekly clients.
Yes.
Part of that could be for their own mental health.
Correct. I think so too. I think some people only see their hairdressers once a week, like that is their social point of contact. So I mean, I think it was really difficult in that it was a very personal choice for both our staff and both our clientele. Like everyone's opinion was different. So whether you chose to stay open or you didn't, I think it's a testament to whatever decision you made, because it was what was right for you at the time. So I think it's really important. There has been a lot of, conversation about the opening and closing thing, but I think, we think in the same way that, like, whatever you decide to do for your business during this time, post this time, what you did leading up to it it's a very personal decision.
I guess the thing is what we've stuck with all the way through is please don't judge if you choose to stay.
Correct.
Please don't judge if you choose to close.
Correct, yeah.
Whatever it is, what you do need to be on board with is how you get on with running your business.
In saying this, so we obviously had to implement some, different procedures to have our salon open. Like, you have a very big space. So we'll break it down into two segments. We'll break it down, like, my salon is 119 square meters, yours is much bigger. So let's break it down into you being a sizable salon over 2 retail spaces. Let's discuss the stuff that you've done, and then I'll discuss the stuff that I've done in a smaller space.
Sure.
So we can explain the 2 different versions of smaller space, albeit my salon is still a large space compared to some. Let's break it down into sizable space versus smaller space so we can explain and then compare what we've done the same and what we've done different.
Yeah, okay, so we've got a salon which has got 17 spaces, 17 workstations. And in the beginning we went down to maybe 1 or 2 clients in the salon. Then we got to a little bit busier, so we've only got operating 7 to 8 salon seats, stations. Then when beauty closed, we were able to utilise some of the rooms because they became available. But that didn't happen in the beginning because there wasn't many people walking through our doors. So it was just a matter of, okay, now as we've started to get busier...
Can I just pause you on that point? People were under the impression that because we have sizable salons, that we were still operating at a massive business capacity. So I think some of the, the commentary online was that, or through community conversation, is that we were being greedy because we were being open. But what you're saying is, even though you had the space for 17 people, you were only getting in business for 2 clients in your salon.
In the beginning, it was only 2 to 3 clients.
Yeah.
If that.
Yes.
There would be days where you'd only do 5 clients.
Yes.
And I've got a salon that's got 17 stations.
Right.
That changed because of the communication.
Yes.
We constantly kept in contact with clients, whether it be social media or emailing, sharing the knowledge. I've done a lot of research on the fact of being able to work out what do you do in a situation like this. And I think we've also made sure we let clients know this is what we're doing.
So what's all this stuff here, Ida? Explain to us the blue bottles. I want to know.
Okay, the blue bottles, we don't normally have blue bottles like this.
Okay.
And they don't normally sit here. They normally sit at the stations. But after each client leaves the salon, leaves the station, and it could be going to have their hair colour rinsed or something like that, or it could be just between a client.
Yes.
Each station gets wiped out.
Yes.
We've kept the blue bottles, even though they're not the most gorgeous looking things.
But they're very identifiable.
Everyone knows what it is.
Yes.
It's very clear. It's
Yes.
disinfectant, yeah?
Yes.
So we do that. But when a client comes into the salon, as I said, we have hand sanitizer at the front, but they are taken straight to the basin area, and they have to wash their hands with hot soapy water.
Yes.
Because that's what the government has been practicing and saying all along. Hot soapy water, different. So we do that. Then before they see a stylist, they need to fill out a health declaration form, which is
I haven't done that. That's a very good idea.
It's some of the questions that you would ask over the telephone. You know, whether you're going to a doctor's surgery or whether you're going to wherever. I had to have a needle done, and they're saying, please stay in the car, and they ask you these questions. Yeah, so we sort of put that on paper. And you know, it's a document where it's got, you know, questions. Have you been to the airport? Have you been affected? Have you travelled? Yada yada yada. So basically, the basic questions. And I guess for us, it was just a measure to just say, you know what, if you're coming into our space, please be respectful. That we have to look after
how
our
have clients responded to you guys asking for that health declaration?
Totally fine.
Totally fine.
Because if they don't fit, we won't look after them.
You won't look after them.
We won't look after them because we have our priority is also for our team and our clients that are in the salon. So this was a way of being able to ensure that clients are doing the right thing and, you know, filling that out, and they have to document and sign it. And that applies if they're a weekly client.
Yes.
They have to fill it out weekly.
Every week. Yeah, because
if they're you know, they still have to fill it out. So clients, there's no issue, you know.
Yes.
I think the hardest thing for us is, you know, having to say no.
Yes.
I know, you know, I've been totally fine. I guess one of the things with having to say no to a health worker because she went to the bra just before Easter.
Oh.
And she, you know, she said, yeah, I have been. And I'm like, oh, just as much as I wanted to look after her and have her in our salon, it wasn't the right thing to do.
It was to exposure.
Yeah, and she was totally fine, and she's like, I totally respect what you're doing.
Yes.
And it also reassured my team and the clients that were in at the time that they're filling this out for a reason.
Yes.
So, you know, we're serious about our business. We're serious about the clients that visit us, and we're serious about our team.
Yes.
So if this is something that we have to do, we just do it. And so clients have not really had any issues. Yes. If they don't fill it out, they don't get looked after. You know, it's like we need to protect ourselves.
Yes.
So, and same applies if a client wants to come in with shampooed hair. It's like, you know what? I get you can do your hair at home and you've shampooed your hair, but for us, it's really important. These are the procedures, and you need to do that here.
Yeah.
So I guess they're the things that we've sort of stuck by.
Yes.
And as I said, you know, we've got the disposable cups. There's no magazines.
Yes.
We're social distancing. There's, like, as I said, from 17 stations, we've gone to 7 to 8 stations.
Yes.
So I think, and that's just the way it is, and clients understand. And we've also been juggling our team. You know, people are having, our seniors are having 2.5 days off a week, just to make sure that we don't have a backload at the end of the week.
Yes.
And once again, clients are being very understanding when you simply say, hey, you know what, we may need to reschedule your time. I need you to come in a little bit later because these are the rules.
Yes. Yes.
If you want to stay in business, you just have to adhere to the rules and do the very best you can. And I think clients are really happy to support any business.
I think so too. I think so. I would say that we've mimicking everything that you've also said. So I've gone from 10 chairs to 6 chairs. The spacing of my salon, seat-wise, is already spacious. So I already have significant space in between my chairs. I've gone as far as using, because my salon is very open plan, there's no hidden areas in my salon, I've had to go as far as using electrical tape. So I've taped off the chairs. So if a client does feel that even though that chair is blocked off, it's still far away enough from the next person, I've actually put tape across my chairs so that they don't sit there regardless. So I have a significantly big space where I actually set it up that way with the hope that I will be able to put more chairs in eventually. So my spacing was already there. The spacing at my basin area is already there. That being said, I'm still being, very diligent. If clients do have to wait in the car because the stylist is running late from their previous client, one of the things that we do ask our clientele is to not bring in friends and children along to their appointments, because obviously we're adhering to a certain number of people in the space at one time. So that's been a little bit tricky. It was in the school holidays because some mums had obviously previously booked appointments where they would normally feel comfortable to bring their child into the salon environment. So it was just a matter of
juggling. They're juggling.
They are.
They're working. They're schooling.
That's right. But it was a matter of conversation. So those clients that we expected would bring in their children to an appointment, we sort of gave them a heads up. Listen, at that time, unfortunately, the salon will be at maximum capacity. So sorry to ask you, but we will have to please ask you to not bring your child to the appointment. They were more than happy. They more than understood the reason why we were asking them to do that. Sure. So I guess for us, it's a matter of communication. I've also gone in and done clients at high risk, so with autoimmune disorders. I've gone in and done those in my personal time. So I've gone in
You've always done that though?
I've always done that, but more so now. I've got my favourite client, Shirley. She's 92 years of age. She's a weekly blow dry client. She hasn't obviously been able to come in. She needed a haircut desperately. She couldn't put her rollers in at home. So I went in on a Sunday morning to do her hair. So there's no reason why you can't do those things, as long as you're adhering to the rules and regulations. So Shirley came in on her own, and she washed her hair at home for me before, purely because she didn't want to be in there for a long period of time. And she was more than happy to do that. So you can be inventive with your clientele. Like I said, my clients with autoimmune disorder, I have done them when there's nobody else in the salon. So if you feel that that's going to be a tricky thing for you to do, offer it outside of normal business hours, where they're at even lower risk. Once again, I feel like those clients that I've gone out of my way to do those special bookings for have been so thankful that I've been able to do that for them.
And I guess for us to be able to balance a busy team, you can't have everybody at the same time.
No, you can't.
So you've got to do hours, another couple late nights.
Yes.
We're the same, we've got 5 basins, we're now down to 3 basins, 2 to 3, which is now gone to 3, but for a long time it was just 2 basins. Yes. And the ones in between when you wash your hands.
Yes.
You're going to have to moving forward, because I don't think social distancing is
it won't be out for
anyway.
a while.
So I think people need to be a little bit more adapting to the fact, you may need to work extra hours.
Yes, that's
or be
right.
open a bit more longer hours.
I think the concept of things being normal, right? Like
what is normal?
I keep saying to you, like you said, I've always gone outside the mold. I've been working, because I've got young kids, I've been working split shifts for a long time. I do go in and, that's my personal choice. I've got the flexibility of living on the same street as my salon, as you live nearby your shop too. But, these are the sorts of things that will stamp your commitment to your clientele during this time. If you are willing to do those little extra things for your clientele, they will remember that you did that for them. And they will be so grateful that you've actually gone out of your way, to do something that makes them, first of all, feel so privileged and special that you would give up your time to do that. I think that's one of the things that I keep reiterating to my staff at the moment is, we have to be so grateful and thankful for, if say we had 60 clients, 70 clients a week, even if we get 30 right now, just be so super thankful that you've got that 30, because that's still 30 more than some other salons have, or forget it, even the local fish and chip guy, you know, he'd love to sell
Or the
30.
beauty side.
Forget it, like, you know, they'd be happy to sell 30 bags of minimum chips right now. So let's not forget and be grateful just for the simple things that we've got, and following the disinfectant, the hand sanitizer, the sterilising in between the clients. Although that does take up some time in between clients, I think that the clients are very grateful that they can see us doing that in between, and they're happy to wait a few extra minutes if it means that they're guaranteed that their space is sterile for their use. And, you know, don't single-use capes. Please use single-use capes. Single-use towels. We've been going to the laundromat like crazy at the moment. The laundromat guy's winning.
We've been washing the cakes.
So things like that, follow those rules. There is a Safe Work SA guide for pre-COVID, which gives you the basic fundamentals of how you should be running. SAHBA is working to update post-COVID what the regulations are. I think we're getting an app, or we're starting to app.
And as I said, I think everything is changing so quickly. So I think they're just.
But reach out to SAHBA. Like, there's people like, you know, us available at the. Unfortunately, the office is closed at the moment because of COVID. But you know, email your questions along, and you'll get a response if you have a question about anything to do with COVID. As many organisations are having to very quickly update what's going on, but it is changing on the red light. So we've kind of you know, gone to a couple of our questions there, but like so we've spoken about like clients being really thankful for, you know, what we're doing, no adverse reactions from the clientele, so we've covered that part. But
I think also it's actually really encouraging when you get really positive feedback from clients. You know, it's been a great thing. We've been able to we've had some great reviews purely based on how we've dealt with this whole situation.
100%.
Because there's no rule book.
No.
You know, we don't learn how to do great work and hairdressing, and by the way, there's a whole heap of these. You just got to work it. It's running a business.
Yes.
You got to put your thinking cap on and think creatively.
And also be flexible. You have to be flexible. Like, you know, both you and I are people that are very like organised and diligent with like the way that we run certain things. But I think one thing I've had to learn during this experience is that I have had to be more flexible, and I've learned to delegate responsibilities to others. I've listened to staff feedback. That's one thing I wanted to touch on. In my experience in the salon, one thing that has concerned me with my staff is the overwhelming negative conversations from the clients. I think this is one thing that people do have to, salon owners should have some, you know, practices or a potential thought process as to how to deal with this environment. Like, you do get people coming in saying, I've lost my job, I've lost my house, I won't be able to pay my mortgage. We had a couple of Saturdays ago where we finished and we were just all like, we exhaled, because it just seemed that every other person was like telling us another negative story. I make sure I have a little powwow with my staff individually, because sometimes I think in a group setting people won't speak out and say how they're feeling because they don't want to obviously open up in front of others. Have you found that you've had to have more conversations with your staff about how they're feeling?
I can confidently say that I've definitely been checking in on individuals.
Yes.
You know, just say, hey, how you going?
Yes.
Some have got parents that are not well.
Yes.
Some people don't deal with issues very well. Just checking in and just seeing how they're going.
Yes.
I think it's really important, and having that openness to be able to communication, which is really good.
William and I tried to, my husband who also is here in the room, we've done little things like, we've tried, we always do it anyway, but we bought them lunch on a Saturday, just little things. We've had a couple of champers after you know, at the beginning we would have like a champagne on a Saturday to celebrate that we got through another week. Little details, small pats on the back. Obviously we're not focusing on performance summaries and, you know, retail targets, and sort of maybe ease off, like there will be that temptation for business owners that have been shut to immediately go back to the expectation that they need to make money. And I think it's really important, and what we've reiterated to our staff is, as long as your wages are paid,
if you're able to float and stay open, that's just a really great thing.
So, and I think, not to have that expectation that you're going to be doing huge numbers at the start. I think that's really important to reiterate.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be real.
Yeah.
You know, let's face it, this is something that we've never had to face with before, or never had to deal with before. So be real. The fact that you can keep your doors open, you can employ your people, you have clients walking your door, be grateful.
And even if you have had to close, I think that it's still a testament to those that have closed, that are going to reopen, and that are going to enter into that uncharted territory of, you know, I don't know what my market is doing on the outside because I haven't been in it, but also being innovative. And I think for myself, like, I've actually had the time finally to go over my salon with a fine-tooth comb. I've checked my spend, I've checked my profit and loss statements. I mean, my husband's very, very good at doing that for the business as a whole. But as a full-time working stylist in my salon, I really haven't had the time to educate myself entirely on those numbers. So I think it's been good for me in the way that now I'm really aware of those, you know, things in the background that make me make better decisions on the floor every day, you know, for what we're doing.
Of course.
So for those that have stayed closed, re-entering, I think it's about being innovative and reinventing the way you do things. And even you've done that with...
I think the thing is, if you've chosen to close, when you choose to reopen, just be realistic, to not expect it to be what it was.
Yes.
And realise that there's lots of things that you have to implement, and lots of things that you need to juggle.
Yes.
And not beat yourself up when it's not working.
Well, even during the time that, you know, I mean, we rang each other several times, and you know, we're bouncing, you know, ideas and just sharing stories with each other as to like what was happening in that the beginning of the time. And you know, like we had our lowest figures that we've had, you know, when I started in my garage. And you know, and I've actually said to my husband, I'm like actually ordering tube for tube week ahead, like I used to when I first started my salon. So speak to your suppliers, look in your back room, clean your back rooms out, go and, you know, wrap up those tubes, and really be diligent about, you know, sometimes you don't even know how much stock you've got because you're so used to just ordering and ordering and ordering that you don't even know how much potentially you could be saving yourself because you haven't even had the time to go into your back rooms and see what you've got sitting there. So I think that's, you know, if you've got the time, like I know that we did like a massive stock take in the salon, and you know, made sure that the stock take was exactly accurate on our shortcuts program, so that when we did have to order, suddenly the orders were smaller because we weren't as busy, but also because I realised how much stock I actually did have sitting in the back room.
As opposed to same old.
As this,
I think the same applies to educating your team.
Yes.
You know, you've got apprentices that are now, if you are eligible for JobKeeper, utilise that time wisely.
Yes.
And absorb the fact that there's time that if you are quiet, then utilise that time to educate your team.
Yes.
At the end, they're going to be much more educated.
Right.
You're going to have a much stronger, more educated team at the end of it. Yes. You know, now's the time, because we're always faced with, we're too busy for this, too busy for that, too busy, too busy.
100%.
Make the time now
with
the time that you do have with those people. So at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel is you're going to have clients that are going to be better serviced, and your team that are going to be better educated.
Correct.
I think
And in saying this, we've said a lot, but what is that? We have. We've kind of answered all the questions in our conversation. So, if we were to look forward in time, which is very hard to do, but if we were to look forward in time, if we were thinking in 3 months' time, what advice could you give salon owners? And what kind of preparation, what kind of planning, or are you planning ahead in your salon over the next 3 months?
The advice that I give myself,
yes,
for 3 months' time and what to expect. I'm not going to give advice to anybody else, but what I give myself is just know the fact that these things aren't changing in a hurry.
Yeah.
So prepare yourself mentally that these are the things that you have to implement in your business.
Yes.
I will be doing that. It's like, some of these things that we put into practice now, they're not going away in 3 months' time. No. They're going to be hanging around for a long time.
Yes.
So come to terms with that, understand that, and make sure that you're getting better of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think people, we're too premature to determine what it's going to look like at the other end. We're taking it bit by bit, but for now, it's like, okay, this is what we're practicing. We're going to be practicing this for a little bit longer. And I think, I think people need to feel confident in every way. Not only clients walking through your door, stylists that are working on the floor, everybody needs to understand that this is just a new way of doing what we do. You can't take for granted what we've been doing. This is just the new way of our hairdressing life.
Yes, that's right.
And beauty's a different story altogether.
It's a whole other story again.
There's lots of changes happening with the beauty industry. As of today, we'll be opening on the 8th of June. Which is a public holiday, so it's really nice. But in some states that have already opened, they're already doing other services for non-facial. Other states that we've spoken to, there's no bed linen, you're going to enter one way, exit another way. It's full head to toe disposable, no linen on the beds, that's all disposable. So, I guess in South Australia, we have been very vigilant about adhering to the rules. So I don't really know what that's actually going to look like right now.
Yes.
But what I can say is I think it's really important to just have a bit of faith.
Yes.
And know that the things that you implement are going to be around for a little bit longer.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes.
That's totally okay. And just say, okay, well, this is the way it is. Until further notice, this is the way we're doing business.
Let's just deal with it. Yeah.
And just get on with it.
And get on with it. For me too, like, I, as much as you can't take positive, I actually have taken a lot of positive from this experience. Like, I'm really happy that I've finally had the time to nurture my business in a different way, because I'm, like I said, I'm still working on the floor pretty much full time. I am really happy that I've had the time to sit and talk to my staff about, not even just in a business sense, but even on a personal sense, like the journey that they're traveling in life at the moment. I'm always, diligent about performances and this and this and that. Yeah, and I've actually had the time to have some, normal conversations with my staff and not just be the salon owner, but, get to know them on a different level. So I've been very thankful for that. I've been really thankful to develop relationships, even with people like yourself. We've had the time to actually have some contact outside of our ridiculously hectic lives, where normally you and I would, I can't speak, I can't, let me call you back, you call me, I call you, we call you. And so it's been nice to just get back into, we say tierra firme in Spanish, and just like put my feet down on the concrete. Yeah. And a little bit of a woosa, like, far out. Like, it doesn't actually have to be so hectic to be enjoyable. Like, I can still enjoy this. Granted, we're not making the money that we were making before, but it's just given me perspective on, why I really love what I do. That's been a blessing for me. And again, going forward, I've just learned to take one day at a time.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is we do what we do because we love what we do.
Yes.
that's never changed.
No.
In
And look, and for some
the
people,
years that we've been
this might just have been
a wake-up call. Really.
and also for those that were on the cusp of whether they really wanted to keep doing what they were doing or not. Like, I mean, on social media, I've seen a lot of salons for sale. It might just have been that this was what, you know, cemented into people's heads that it isn't what they wanted to do. And that's okay too. Like, if you've decided after COVID that this is not what you want to do, that's okay. And no one should judge anybody for the decisions that they've made during this time, because it's okay if you didn't want to continue. But that being said, I think it's important to know that, you know, the association is there to help people during, you know, reopening if they've got any questions, if there's all the links to the JobKeeper information on the SAHBA website. Please go onto that. You can email at info@sahba.com.au.
And you also have access to anybody on the board that
for sure. Like we're always we're always happy to to have a chat. We'll tag ourselves obviously in this video. So if there's any, you know, like we've had coffee before, we've had conversations, and I think part of like my lure into the you know, my directorship is that I was going to have access to people with so much knowledge. It's very difficult to know what to do in your business if you don't have the experience. So I think that's one thing that people can take from this experience. So anyway, Ida,
as you can tell,
we talk a lot.
I think also is also really important is the fact that, you know, you do what you do and you love what you do, and you know, you don't have always the answers.
No.
But if you're prepared to give it a go,
yes,
and seek the information, there's a lot of people around that are willing to help.
Yeah.
It's a really
and like, you know, one of the things that we often discuss in our board meetings is that we have the desire to join the community in South Australia together. Like, you and I travel a lot interstate to do you know, hair things and hair shows, and we've got lots of friends, you know, outside of South Australia in the hair industry, and we're very lucky to work interstate. But you know, the association really does want to create that culture in South Australia. There's lots of niche little pockets of groups of people that, you know, often get together, but the association really wants to drive that community feel for South Australia. We are, without getting into too much detail, we're very privileged to have lots of things going for South Australian hairdressing that other states don't have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I think there's a wealth of knowledge here, and there's a great bunch of people that are willing to share their information and help. As I said, I'm very fortunate to be in the industry that I've chosen 35 years later. Still love what I do, employing young people,
100%.
giving opportunities.
Passionate. So, Ida, our final piece.
Are you sure?
For our final piece. We didn't even need the questions. We could have just done this like just having a little chit chat. Final piece. Again, we are here representing South Australian Hair and Beauty Association. Ida and I are both directors on the board. We would love to hear from you guys. Please comment, message, post, inbox, ring, whatever you want to do, the association. But I just wanted to finish off, Ida, you know, tell me why people should get involved in SAHBA.
Why wouldn't you? It's a wealth of knowledge, and there's because things that apply here don't necessarily apply in other states.
Yes.
We're very fortunate in South Australia that we have a hairdressing act, which most states would be hungry for. We are working on a great deal of projects that are changing the way we look at hairdressing. As I said, from someone who's employed a lot of people over the years, and I've been in business for 25 years, so to have had a lot of young people come through my business, go on and have their own salons. You know, you've got to put back. You know, we don't get paid for doing what we do on the board.
No.
It's just like, you know, somebody gave you a heads up, they helped you. It's just the right thing to do.
Yes. And I for myself am 10 years into running my business, and I feel that I'm ready to take some risks and move on to the next 10 years, fingers crossed. And for myself, it's obviously no disrespect, but it's trying to encourage the younger generation, even after me, to become a part of the industry. It seems that there's a standpoint, perhaps my era and after, where hairdressers are just not involved in, community projects. A lot of hairdressers are asking for, again, I repeat, like the competitions and all that sort of stuff. But what people don't understand is that it takes a mountain to put on a project like that. You and I know all about this. And it would be, like, if you guys have got an opinion as to what you would like, how you would like things done, if you've been in the competitions and you have suggestions and concepts and ideas and things that you would like, we can only do so much with the information that we have, but we openly welcome, advice and suggestions. It's not just the people that sit on the board make all the decisions. It's just that we are the only ones that are really volunteering the time to do so. So if you want to be involved, become a member, sign up. A lot of people say, what is it worth?
Yeah. I think, you know what? Stay tuned. There's lots coming our way.
So much coming.
Because we're like little ducks, like you just go like that, and we're cruising on the top. Yeah. We look like we're cruising at the top. We are working so hard at so many different projects. So stay tuned. Have a bit of faith. Best of luck in business.
Yes.
It's definitely, for some of us who've been through the GFC and things like this, we've been around for a long time. We've got a lot of knowledge to share. So please don't hesitate to ask questions, send us information, send us
inboxes
and stuff like that. But stay positive. As I said, listen to the government, listen to our state government, listen to the health authorities. Please don't follow social media on that respect. Anyone can put a stethoscope on and tell you that they're a doctor and give you the best advice for whatever. So please just stay tuned to the people that know what they're talking about and have faith.
Yes.
So I think it's a really great thing.
Yes. So anyway, guys, after that lengthy conversation, I don't know how many minutes it's been. I can't really see that.
It's supposed to go down.
Thank you very much for taking the time, Ida, to be here in your beautiful salon tonight.
I'm signing off from War.
Signing off from Longco. Thank you, guys. Again, if you want to contact the association, please head over to the SAHBA website and/or please email SAHBA at info@sahba.com.au. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Please stay tuned and we'll have more information for you on what's happening in the near future. Signing out.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.